Have you ever just, looked up at the night sky, all those stars, and really let yourself think about that huge question, the one we've asked forever? Where are you
Yeah.
coming? Truly alone, slow delivery.
Yeah.
For so long, that idea, well, it was mostly science fiction, wasn't it? Whispers, theories, easily brushed off as fantasy, but something's different now. Something feels like it shifted what we used to just, put in the fiction box. Now it's demanding attention, real attention.
Yeah.
We're hearing about startling disclosures, testimony from experts, people with serious credentials, and those chilling stories from military pilots, things they just can't explain. It feels like the conversation isn't really about if anymore, but more like, what are these things?
Exactly. And that's really what we want to dig into today in this deep dive. We're going to carefully sift through what we know, the sources, the stories, mysterious lights, yes, but also radar contacts that don't make sense, and maybe the biggest piece to it, the official reports that have started coming out. So we're exploring that possibility of life out there, sure, in that vastness, but also maybe the more unsettling question. Has it already paid us a visit? Let's take our time, really unpack this mystery.
Okay, yeah, that is an unsettling thought to start with. So let's dive into some of those specific incidents, the ones that have really fueled this whole thing for years. And these aren't just like campfire stories. Many are backed up by multiple witnesses, credible people, and now increasingly getting some kind of official nod, They're genuinely baffling. We really have to begin with the big one, don't we? The most famous, maybe the most controversial incident in all of UAP lore. Roswell, New Mexico, July 1947. Picture it. The Army Air Forces initially report finding a flying disc crashed out in the desert. A flying disc.
I mean, imagine hearing that news back then. Astonishing.
Absolutely. But then almost instantly, like within hours, the story completely changes.
Right. Suddenly it wasn't a disc anymore.
No, suddenly it was a weather balloon, just a simple weather balloon.
A very convenient explanation.
And that sudden switch, that incredibly fast backtrack, is why the conspiracy theories just took hold, isn't it?
Absolutely. People started wondering, what were they covering up?
Exactly. Whispers of alien bodies, hidden craft,
Mm-hmm.
all recovered by the government and hushed up.
That speed of the retraction, going from something extraordinary to something utterly mundane, really laid the groundwork for decades of distrust.
It really did. It's kind of the foundational mystery.
Yeah, Roswell certainly set a tone. And if that's the iconic American case, then Rendlesham Forest, England, in December 1980 is often called Britain's Roswell.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe with even more detailed military testimony, which is fascinating.
Military personnel, right. Not just casual observers.
Exactly. U.S. Air Force personnel stationed at RAF Woodbridge and Bentwaters. Highly trained people. Over several nights, they reported seeing these glowing metallic objects maneuvering silently in the woods.
Silent maneuvering, that's a common theme.
It is. And some reported seeing strange symbols, like hieroglyphics, on a craft that apparently landed. They even described weird physical effects, static electricity, a strange feeling of time slowing down.
Whoa. Okay, that's specific.
And here's the really compelling part. Lieutenant Colonel Charles Halt, who was the deputy base commander, he actually made an audio recording during one of the encounters, live.
Let's actually hear it.
You can hear it. His voice, the urgency, describing what he's seeing in real time. It really puts you there. You feel that eerie atmosphere. Something truly unknown was happening.
It's chilling to think about. And it wasn't always just military folks, right? Sometimes it was. Huge numbers of people. Like the Phoenix Lights in Arizona, March 13th, 1997. We're talking thousands of residents all across the state, hundreds of miles.
Thousands. That scale is incredible.
Isn't it? They reported seeing these massive V-shaped formations of lights, just hovering silently, moving slowly across the night sky for hours.
It's silent again.
Yeah.
V-shaped.
Yeah. And this wasn't just, a few people looking up. Even the governor at the time, Fife Symington, he initially tried to downplay it, make light of it.
I remember that.
But years later, after he left office, he admitted he saw it too. He called it otherworldly.
Wow. So even the governor saw something he couldn't explain.
Right. When you have thousands of separate witnesses reporting the same inexplicable thing, it adds this undeniable weight, doesn't it?
It really does. A shared experience of, well, the impossible. And that brings us to an incident that really challenges our understanding of, well, everything. Physics, basically.
Yeah.
The USS Nimitz incident, November 2004.
Ah, yes, the Tic Tac.
The Tic Tac. So Navy fighter pilots off Southern California during training exercises. They encounter this object, white, smooth, oblong like a Tic Tac mint. No wings, no visible propulsion.
And the way it moved.
Exactly. That's the key. Physics-defying maneuvers. We're talking instant acceleration, 0 to hypersonic speeds in a blink, making turns that would crush any human pilot, any known aircraft.
No sonic boom either, right? When it shouldn't be possible at those speeds.
None reported. Dropping tens of thousands of feet in seconds. It behaved in ways that our current understanding of physics says things can't behave.
Suggests a technology or something way beyond us.
It certainly does. And what really pushed this into the mainstream was the Pentagon. They later confirmed the incident, and in 2017, they released the actual gun camera footage, the FLIR video.
Seeing that footage, it's grainy, but it's compelling.
It forced everyone, including the military, to seriously consider that something is operating out there using principles we just don't grasp yet.
So what could allow for that kind of movement? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And these encounters, these individual stories, they gain even more weight when you look at the big picture shift from the U.S. Department of Defense between, say, 2020 and 2023. This felt like a huge deal. For decades, UFOs were kind of a punchline.
Definitely dismissed, yeah.
Yes.
Or treated with deep secrecy.
But then the Pentagon comes out and officially confirms the existence of UAP's unidentified aerial phenomenon.
The name change itself was significant. UAP sounds much more neutral, scientific, less little green men.
Right, and they released declassified videos captured by sophisticated military sensors.
Videos showing objects doing exactly the kinds of things the Nimitz pilots described.
In that 2021 report from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, it looked at 144 sightings between 2004 and 2021.
And concluded that most remain unexplained. They couldn't identify what they were.
That official stamp of unexplained from the government itself, it feels like it changes the game, doesn't it? Maybe moves it beyond the fringe for good.
I think it absolutely does. It legitimizes the inquiry. It says, okay, there's something real here that we need to understand, potentially for national security reasons, if nothing else. And this shift opens the door for serious scientists to weigh in without risking their careers quite so much. People like Dr. Avi Loeb, the Harvard astrophysicist.
Oh, yeah. He made waves with Oumuamua.
He really did. Oumuamua was that very strange interstellar object that zipped through our solar system back in 2017. It didn't behave like any asteroid or comet we'd ever seen. Weird shape, accelerated oddly.
And Loeb suggested it might be alien tech.
He floated the hypothesis, yes.
Yeah.
Based on the lack of a good natural explanation. It was controversial, but it pushed the boundaries.
Yeah.
His core message is humility, isn't it? He says, we should not assume that we're the most intelligent beings.
Because the universe is so much older than us.
Exactly. We might be relative newcomers. It requires a certain humility to accept that maybe we don't have all the answers yet, that our current science might be incomplete.
That idea, capabilities beyond our current understanding, that seems to be the recurring theme. And Luis Elizondo, who used to head the Pentagon's UAP program, A to P, he says that explicitly.
He does. He's been very vocal since leaving the Pentagon.
Stating that some of these UAPs show capabilities far beyond our current understanding of physics, just like the Nimitz incident suggested.
And he insists they're real, physical phenomena that demand serious scientific study, free from stigma.
He's really pushing for transparency, for a more open investigation.
And it's good to also remember figures who balanced skepticism with wonder, like Carl Sagan.
A classic, a voice of reason, but also imagination.
Right. He was skeptical, demanding rigorous evidence, but he also gave us that incredible perspective.
The universe is a pretty big place. If it's just us, seems like an awful waste of space.
Exactly. That quote perfectly captures the scale, the possibility. And his work inspired programs like SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence.
Still scanning the skies for signals today.
It shows you can be scientifically rigorous and still grapple with these huge, profound questions. It encourages critical thinking alongside embracing the vastness.
And looking forward, the scientific community seems genuinely energized now. I saw NASA astrobiologist Mary Wojtek quoted as saying, "We are now in a golden era of astrobiology."
That's exciting to hear from NASA.
Isn't it? She points to upcoming missions. We're going back to Mars, exploring Europa, Titan.
Places right here in our solar system that might hold answers.
She seems optimistic that we might be getting closer to finding something definitive. You can almost feel the anticipation building in the scientific world.
Which is a perfect bridge to the science itself. Let's shift from these specific encounters on Earth to the wider cosmic search. Where could life exist out there? This is where the science is really pushing boundaries now.
Okay, so where are we looking? Mars seems like the obvious first stop.
It is. And our view of Mars has completely changed. It's not just a dead red rock. We have definitive proof of ancient riverbeds, lake beds, Mars clearly had liquid water on its surface billions of years ago. Lots of it.
And there might still be water there now.
Exactly. We found vast amounts of subsurface water ice. And there's evidence suggesting potential pockets of briny liquid water might exist seasonally just below the surface.
Wow. And didn't Curiosity find organic molecules?
Yes. Complex organic molecules, the building blocks of life as we know it, preserved in ancient Martian rocks.
So the ingredients were there, maybe still are.
Precisely. It means Mars had, or maybe still has, the essential conditions for life. The possibility of finding fossilized microbes, or maybe even dormant life today, is very real.
And beyond Mars, you hear a lot about Jupiter's and Saturn's moons.
Oh, absolutely. Europa orbiting Jupiter and Enceladus orbiting Saturn. These are incredibly exciting prospects. They're icy moons, but beneath those icy shells we're almost certain there are vast global oceans of liquid water.
Kept warm by gravity, not sunlight.
By tidal forces. The immense gravity of Jupiter and Saturn constantly flexes the moons, generating internal heat that keeps the water liquid.
So hidden oceans.
Huge hidden oceans. And they're considered prime candidates for life because they likely have rocky seafloors, possibly with hydrothermal vents like those on Earth's ocean floors.
Which support whole ecosystems here.
Exactly, providing chemical energy. Enceladus even has geysers shooting water vapor and organic particles out into space from its ocean. We've sampled them.
Like a sneak peek inside.
It really is. The idea of life thriving in these dark, hidden oceans so far from the sun, it just expands our whole definition of where life could exist.
And then there's the really mind-bending stuff. Planets outside our solar system, exoplanets.
Yeah, this field has exploded. Just a few decades ago, we didn't know for sure if any other stars had planets. Now we know about thousands. Planets seem to be incredibly common out there.
And we're finding them in the habitable zone.
We are. That's the region around a star where temperatures could allow liquid water to exist on a planet's surface. The Goldilocks zone.
Not too hot, not too cold.
Just right. We've found systems like TRAPPIST-1, which has multiple Earth-sized planets right in that zone.
So potentially Earth-like conditions could be everywhere, relatively speaking.
It certainly seems much more common than we used to think. And now, with tools like the James Webb Space Telescope, we're starting to be able to analyze the atmospheres of some of these exoplanets.
Looking for signs of life, biosignatures.
Exactly. Looking for gases or chemical combinations that might indicate biological processes. It puts that question, are we alone, into this vast, almost overwhelming cosmic context. The possibilities seem almost endless.
So wrapping this up, it's clear, isn't it, that we don't have that final absolute proof yet. No smoking gun for alien life.
No, not definitively. That remains elusive.
The evidence is mounting, you have to say. From these strange historical sightings right up to modern military videos and sensor data, it really does suggest that maybe, just maybe, we're not alone.
I agree. When you pull it all together, the credible witnesses, the physical data that sometimes defies explanation, and the incredible advances in astrobiology. It paints a picture that's, well, it's both thrilling and deeply humbling. This whole question of alien life or UAPs, it's really moved from the fringes, hasn't it?
Things like it.
It feels like it's now on the frontier, a genuine frontier of science and human inquiry.
A conversation we can't ignore anymore.
Definitely not. It demands our attention, our curiosity, our best scientific efforts.
So whether they're out there watching us, maybe for reasons we can't possibly guess, or whether they're simply waiting, hidden in those distant star systems, or maybe even closer, just waiting to be found. It feels like the universe still holds its biggest secrets just beyond our reach.
Pause. So what do you think? Are they out there? Or maybe have they already been here?